holidays nale adu namma GT Holidays da, South India's #1 travel brand.
Join the team. Which values you and your thoughts? Hiring now.
ஒரு மேடை இரண்டு விருது கலாட்டா நக்ஷத்ரா அவார்ட்ஸ் அண்ட் வண்டர் உமன் அவார்ட்ஸ் வர நவம்பர் 30th பயங்கர கிராண்டா நேரு இண்டோர் ஸ்டேடியம்ல நடக்க போகுது. இதை நீங்க நேர்ல பார்க்கணும்னு நினைச்சீங்கன்னா டிஸ்கிரிப்ஷன்ல இருக்கிற லிங்க் கிளிக் பண்ணி உங்களோட ஃப்ரீ டிக்கெட்ஸை வாங்கிக்கோங்க ஆர் www.galatta.com அப்படின்ற வெப்சைட் மூலமா உங்களோட ஃப்ரீ டிக்கெட்ஸை கலெக்ட் பண்ணிக்கோங்க.
Hello, Vijay Varma. Welcome to Galatta Plus. I'm going to begin by telling you when I first saw you, right? It's this big screen at the Berlin Film Festival. Gullyboy is having its premiere there. The movie opens and I'm expecting, one of the bigger the names to come there. And then right in the middle of the frame, you are walking confidently, towards me. And I'm like, wow, this guy has such an interesting face and it's so charismatic, and you turned out to have a great role as well. So that's the first time I saw you. But since then, your face has been used mainly to portray evil, bad stuff. What is it about this face that makes people say, I have to cast this guy as somebody on the other side of the law?
So you saw me in Gully Boy. I kind of got all kinds of role, but the good parts were not very exciting. They were getting me heroes, friends roles, who are nice boys and stuff like that. And I didn't want to go down that path.
You didn't want to do that at all?
I did not want to do that. And therefore I felt like some of the negative characters that came my way, I picked the ones that were the most exciting. There's a show, I don't know if you've seen it, called She on Netflix.
I've seen that.
And it was a role that I've never seen or read before on screen. It's a very blatant, overtly sexual and unhinged kind of a man. And I was like, is tarah ka role, Imtiaz Ali who's written that. And I was like, this man created this incredible character, how do I own it? And therefore I started taking those challenging roles, which I thought I would never be able to do. And somehow when I was doing Ek Ke Baad Ek, I kept finding more exciting roles like that. So that, I think that phase lived for like good 3-4 years, I would say.
Yeah. So basically you're saying that it was more because the interesting parts happened to be those kinds of parts.
Interesting parts were the negative ones.
Roles. Okay. You just spoke of She. You said the role really took a toll on you. In an interview, I read that. What happened? I mean, what was it that was so taxing?
I'm a very shy person in real life. And I thought logically it looks like it's very easy, and now that I've done it and people have seen it, it looks like it's so accessible. But it wasn't. I had to break a lot of inhibitions to even utter some of the sentences on screen with conviction and to do certain actions on screen. So I didn't have it in me, I thought. And therefore I was very shy, and I was always telling Imtiaz, can we say something else, or can we avoid this? And he's like, Vijay, just don't judge the character. Just do it. Don't judge the character. Don't judge the character.
But when you say took a toll, did you feel bad after that? Did it take a psychological toll? What kind of role have I done?
So I think when I did it, I prepared and I psyched myself, and I got to a place where I was able to do it. But after I finished watching it, I kind of moved on into other things in life. But part of the experience stayed with me.
Okay.
And it was during the release that the fear started to erupt. Ek saath. Ki, oh damn. One part of the job was I've done it. The other part of the job is everybody will see it. So I was very, very, very
Including
scared.
your
everybody.
Family, friends.
Yeah, I didn't think this through. I thought I haven't thought this through. Like, I have 7 nieces and nephews at home.
Oh God.
And I have extended family, and I just found my foot. It was good 8-10 years of really not finding any work and stuff like that. So is this going to be that my parents are going to be like, ye karne gaya tha Bombay? So all of those fears came back, and they came so strong, and I was just like, why did I not think this through? Because I saw one episode, I was like, strong. It was very strong. So I was scared just watching it, and to think that everybody is going to watch it, and everybody is going to see through me and judge me. So that took a bit of a toll.
But the obvious next question is, then how did that Vijay Varma do love stories? Which was much more, it wasn't just expressive.
I think maybe I took the, what do you call it, I took baby steps.
So She was a necessary step to get
to
to
get to this.
Right.
Yeah. And it had to also be with something, some kind of an equation that I had with Sujoy. So when he said he's doing this short film, I said I'll do it, and then he said it's this one, and मेरे को lust दिखाना है. So I said okay, दिखाओ. So I think I was prepared because I already had an equation with Sujoy sir, and then even Tamanna was on the same page that she also wanted to push her boundaries as an actor. So it turned out to be an easy experience.
Right. Now, you mentioned that you had a long wait, and I just remembered that I have seen you in one movie earlier, Monsoon Shootout, right?
Yeah.
Which premiered at Cannes, but then it didn't come out in theaters till maybe 4 or 5 years later.
2017 December.
Yeah. It was a long gap between
5 years.
when it premiered and 5 years. Yeah.
Yeah.
When something like that happens, right? How do you keep your faith?
I don't think there is faith involved. You're just latching onto every little ray of hope
Right.
that you get in a day, once in a month, maybe once in 6 months, and you latch onto it. I came close to getting some incredible roles or something interesting was happening, but I took that as a sign of progress. I think that kept my sanity, and at the same time I was keeping my lifestyle, my necessities bare minimum in life. So I didn't have the burden of really having to fulfill a very demanding lifestyle, or for that matter, I didn't have to support my family, and God bless for that. So I didn't have burdens. I had existential burden of proving myself, and to find some kind of purpose and meaning, and to be able to do the work that I want to do. So that, I think I was holding on to any kind of hope that I could find. At the same time, I was trying to keep my sanity by just maintaining a very simple life of being with family, being with friends, and going through the day.
So throughout this period, there was not one role that you took that you just said, okay, let me just do this for the money. You were always very firm about the fact that it has to be a good role. Is that what it is?
It was always like that until there was one time which was probably the lowest low. I didn't have any money. I had like 18 rupees in my bank account. And there was a call that came and they said, there's a small role, reporter's role. And it's a one-day job. You come, you'll get 3,000 rupees or something like that. And I thought, I'm like, damn, I would never want to play a role like that. But I took it. I went and I started shooting, and my heart wasn't there, my conviction wasn't there. And I was fumbling in the take. And it was in English, so I also figured that, it's not easy to play an English reporter while I was doing it. So I got fired on the set. I had finished Monsoon Shootout. So I played a lead by then. But I had to go through that experience, and I walked back, and I was not in a good mood. I was crying on my way back, and I told myself I will never take up anything for money. And
Right.
that was in maybe 2014, and ever since. That was the only instance.
What is your definition of great acting?
Great acting.
When do you know that, yes, I have done a good job?
Not me. I can define great acting.
No,
as
but
per
also
my-
from inside. I'm sure you have had times when you said, man, I really nailed that, or I really did that right, Haven't you had that feeling?
There's a click that happens
Right.
inside where, as much as we understand that we are performing and part of us are also calibrating and watching ourselves, but there's a click that happens where, like in meditation, when you go to a stage of thoughtlessness, in performances, the click happens when you are absolutely true, in the right emotion, in the right frame of mind, feeling the right thing and saying the right thing in exactly the right way. When that happens, there's a click, and it happens very rarely. So, and sometimes, it doesn't come with planning, it doesn't come with anything. It just sometimes happens very instinctively. It's like, it's like spotting a tiger. It's not in your hand.
Right. Just to understand this, you said you compare it to meditation. Is that click meaning at that point you don't feel your Vijay Varma anymore and you're completely the character? Is that when the click happens?
No, in that moment, you feel like you are here in this moment, sharing this dynamic with this person or this space.
But you're aware of
And you
yourself.
felt. I think it's the deepest form of empathy, but you still know that you are not that person.
Right. That's so.
It's
That's
the
separate.
utmost, like you
Okay.
feel like recently I saw this video.
I love that phrase, deepest form of empathy. That's beautiful. Yeah.
Yeah, it's the deepest form of empathy. I just saw this video of this vegetable vendor who's having a very tough day, and somebody pointed a mic at him and he started talking about it. And he breaks down because he's like, I don't have money and I don't know if I'll make the day. And it's like that when you feel like, man, I want to help this person. That's empathy, but there is distance.
Right.
No, he's not me. But somewhere you go so close that you feel like this is happening to you. And that's where the click happens.
Do you remember one of the times the click happened? Can you say or?
I think it happened in the jail sequence in Gully Boy.
Okay.
Both me and Ranbir felt it. I saw him. There's a scene where he comes and he's trying to say, "I'm going to tell the police that you didn't do anything, and you'll be out of the jail." He's like, "You have a future. You have dream. I don't have anything. I was supposed to end up here." You know that moment.
Yeah.
But scenes were going on, dialogues were spoken, everything was right. But there was a moment when silence happened. And in that silence, I felt like this man loves me the most. And that broke me. And that was the click.
Lovely. Thank you for explaining that, because, an example always makes it a little
Yeah.
clearer. So,
Yeah. And it can happen in all kinds of situations. It can happen in a scene where you hate yourself.
right.
It can happen in a scene where you are being extremely disrespectful to somebody else and you feel like, oh God, I'm capable of this. Because वहाँ पर भी click हो सकता है.
It's easy to play a character that is similar to you.
No, I don't like to play characters.
You
which
don't
are very
take up
similar.
such roles.
Yeah.
That are like you.
Yeah. I feel like
Even if you like the character.
I think the closest I've played of who I am is probably Kalkut.
Okay.
Because there's a certain kind of sensitivity and vulnerability of being overwhelmed with things very easily, which is who I am in real life. And I actually had fun doing it, but
Did you?
so yeah, I guess.
Just to interrupt there, did you do anything there to say, okay, this is too much like me, I need to kind of find something that is a little away from me?
One of the things I made sure that I sound different, so I worked extensively on the language.
Okay.
I used a very specific dialect from UP
Okay.
throughout the show. And this character will not sound like any other character I've done.
okay, okay.
So that was one important thing. I remember during shooting that I got into a conversation with, and my manager was calling me and I'm talking to her कि हम बताते हैं, हाँ नहीं यहाँ पर नहीं बता, व्यस्त है अभी. So she's like, what happened to you? व्यस्त है. I'm like, oh God, yeah, it's happening to me. I'm trying my best to kind of get into the world. Yeah.
And what about a character completely away from you?
I don't know. It starts with first knowing that you can't do it. It starts there. It starts with, it's like
Is that a fear?
Yeah, it starts with a fear. It starts with whether you will be able to do it or not. And then you're like trying to find answers or tools that can help you to get there. And biggest tool is the script. That's the first thing you have to, and at one point you will have to be an advocate for the character. If not blatantly, but subtly you have to.
You cannot judge the person.
Yeah, you cannot. You have to get to a place where you understand this person and empathize with him.
Right. And you do that using the script and what tools you learn from theatre or?
So the hack I found in Sasya was I stumbled upon an article on BDSM culture and how there are certain dominant character. I've understood that this man enjoys that. It's a sexual domination that he enjoys, which I had no idea about. But the article was I was like, it just blew my mind. So that's how, you find something you will find. Like in The Hard, I was watching serial killer interviews and their court proceedings and stuff. And in the middle of all that, I'm like, if you just take away the whole context, these men look so normal, man.
Yeah.
They look like insurance agent. They look like the bank manager you've met. They look and they behave. So I'm like, this is it. This is the character. Focus on the normalcy of the
Right.
person. And I think that just works. Because why, be like this? And it makes no sense.
Yeah.
We've seen so much of it. It's a wrong portrayal.
Yeah.
Because if you are like that in a frame, then everybody else around you looks like a fool because they can't see you. Like, are they not intelligent enough to tell that there's something wrong with this person?
Yeah, yeah. My favorite scene in The Hard is when, of course, there are many favorite scenes. I love the whole show, but is when you do something with a hairdryer. It's a very typically evil thing to do, but the way you portray it is so normal, like
Yeah.
as if you're repairing the hairdryer,
Yeah.
not fixing it.
Yeah.
And I was like, wow, that's really interesting because he's not going into a zone where he's like, da da da, I'm kind of,
But
like,
those are all director's call. I feel like I didn't do anything in The Hard. Except
it was all Rima.
it was all Rima, but I had to just crack one small thing, which took a bit of a learning, is to not have real feelings.
Wow.
Ha.
How do you do that?
Because they are desensitized to a place where they feel.
Right. But how do you desensitize yourself?
There is a lag. So you say something which is very rude, I'm supposed to feel offended, right? In a very normal human being behavior. It takes a bit of a time to understand that I'm supposed to. He pulls out a file, says, "This pretend you're rude, pretend you're hurt now." File. So there's a small lag that happens. So it's a process that he goes through for everything. His wife wants to leave, so he doesn't know. Like, you're supposed to feel bad, correct? Yeah, feel bad now. I feel bad. So this transition you need to make inside your head.
So he needs to mentally calculate.
Yeah.
To get
What
to
is the right behavior
from
in a
point A to
scenario?
point B to
Yeah,
like
yeah.
a thing. That's brilliant.
Yeah.
When did you feel I have arrived
I think when I went to Cannes.
for Monsoon Shootout?
Yeah.
Wow.
I saw those pictures. It was everywhere where in my small echo chamber that I was in. I was just like, I'm on the red carpet. I'm getting photoshopped for the photo call. I'm seeing images of me exactly in the spots where I've seen images of heroes I worshipped or
Right.
actresses I loved, or I've seen Javier Bardem in the same spot I was in. So it was a big deal
Very
for a
interesting
boy.
choice of actor.
Yeah. So I was like, this is it then, because Nawaz and Irfan were doing just a year before me and stuff. So I'm like, okay, so this is it. These guys got there and they got the work that they wanted.
Right.
I'm here. Now I'll go back to Bombay and, voila, life is amazing. But unfortunately for me, that moment of feeling I have arrived dissipated very tragically over the next few weeks, and then
And then now it's kind of come back again.
yeah, I think the first time you remember, uske baad then you've earned it. You've earned it because
That's again lovely.
yeah, because now I know that I've earned this spot. I've done whatever I'm supposed to do to be here. I'm not arrived. I've really walked this path.
You walk the walk. Yeah.
So there it felt like I've arrived because I did one film and I'm here.
You did theatre. Does theatre acting help film acting at all? I ask this of all actors who've done theatre. So
Theatre acting, I don't know if it helps, but theatre helps in you understanding that it's a teamwork, and nothing teaches teamwork better than theatre. Because it's such a ruthless medium. Because if you don't understand how to work with others, you cannot do theatre. And that's one strong quality I see in actors who have a strong theatre background, because there is a selflessness that comes as a package deal if you do good enough theatre.
you're saying that the world doesn't revolve around me.
Yeah.
Right. Something like that.
Yeah.
Okay.
And you are really a slave to every small cog in the wheel to make this clock work.
Right, including the person shining a light on
Yeah,
you
yeah.
and
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's a very grounding experience.
Right.
Yeah. The sooner you realize it's a teamwork, the better team player you become.
Right.
And therefore, your journey will be far better. Not just because you will do successful films and people will love you, because you'll have a good time shooting those films.
Right.
Because you'll understand how to work with people nicely.
Right. You are in a unique position, or rather, I would say our entertainment medium is in a unique position where you can be the lead in something like The Hard and yet be a bad guy. Like it's not like the lead always has to be a good guy.
But this was always there. Have you seen Scarface, or for that
No,
matter.
in our end, like as in our.
It started
milieu,
with Diwar. It was there. Antagonist.
he was not a bad guy. He was. There was still a lot of sympathy. He was projected very sympathetically. You
No,
know,
Pushpa is a proper. Yeah.
yeah. Now, yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. But when I see Diwar, I'm not like, oh God, I hate Amitabh. I'm fully for Amitabh. I'm like,
Yeah.
Shashi Kapoor, you wuss, get away from here. You
No,
know,
even
that's-
Mr. Shah Rukh Khan's early work,
Yeah,
where you don't know what you, especially when I was a
Especially-
boy,
yeah,
I didn't
yeah.
know what to feel about this.
Right, and like
These
Anjam
portrayals.
and
Yeah.
you know Dar.
It was interesting.
Yeah. Has this kind of made it easier to be a leading man, like across? Has that made it easier, like
Yeah.
without seeking out certain banners or roles or camps or whatever it is?
I've understood that if you stick to your conviction and make the choices as per your conviction and your understanding of what you're capable of, it's better, because if I push myself in directions that I'm not first convinced with, and then and those failures will really feel bad because they are not your choices in the first place. There have been examples of certain actors who stick to their beliefs and their style, and made a huge mark. So I knew that with enough patience and persistence and some luck, one can get there.
Right.
I'm
right.
hoping to get there.
I think you're already there. If there is one person's career trajectory that you would like to have, whose is that?
So this is one thing that I kind of disagree with, because I feel like it's a completely unique journey that two actors have.
Right.
And one of the things that I find not very interesting in the conversations is as soon as I do something, they're like, okay, so he's going to be the next this, he's going to be the next that. And I'm like, nah, this is... yeah, unless you're really not experimenting, because I'm experimenting a lot.
Yeah.
So I don't know what journey I am on. And if somebody tells me you're on this journey, I don't like it, because personally I don't feel like I am following anything. I'm just going with the flow.
But supposing somebody says, wow, after a long time we have somebody who's doing something like what Nashiruddin Shah used to do, just as an example, does that not make you feel good?
It used to make me feel very scared when it started happening. I remember there was a party, holy party at Tigmanshu Dhulia's office, and he held my hand, and he was of course a little happy. So he held my hand.
You're shy, innocent, all those things are coming out now. Now I know why you couldn't do she. You used the word happy instead of whatever you wanted to yourself.
So he held my hand and he walked me across the other section of the office and make me stand in fully colored face of Irfan Khan. He was also there. He's like, Irfan, teri ye jagah lega. And I'm like, God, I wanted to disappear from there. I just felt like this is the worst thing one person can tell to another, but Irfan was totally having fun with that. So it's then I had to send a long message to him saying that it's wrong, this comparison is wrong for you, it's wrong because what you've done is very different and probably nobody will ever come close and stuff like that. I reached out because I was feeling damn embarrassed of it.
Right.
It is flattering when somebody sees people I like or I consider my heroes, their light shining onto me in any way. But I still feel like it is still restricting.
Yeah.
Both the entities.
Because you want to explore the unknown.
Yeah.
Not what somebody has done before.
Yeah, and it is unfair to both the parties.
Right. But do you keep an eye out on the people, what work the competition is doing? Do you I don't mean this in a bad way, but to
No, so I get very charged up if somebody delivers a performance that I am blown by. So that excitement and that the thought stays with you for a long time, and sometimes you're thinking, God, now the stakes are high. And I feel like overall it does something. When an actor does something incredible on screen and it becomes a thing, what it does is it just creates a system where everybody has to up their game collectively. But when that doesn't happen, no, then it's a failure. Then that one performance not leading into more people wanting to break. Because I remember when Kangana came, I felt like probably half the actresses felt completely like they were like, this is it. This is how you crack it, you know. Like, what a magnificent performer. So these are the stakes now.
Yeah.
If you want to impress the world, do this.
Yeah, I still remember watching Gangster and I was like, what did I just see?
Yeah.
You know, it was,
The stakes are high because
yeah.
I saw a lot of actresses take certain choices after that.
after
After
Kangana's
Kangana's
thing.
performance,
Right,
yeah.
right.
Or for that matter, when Kareena did Jab Bhi Met. They were probably in Lokhanda, there are 500 auditions every day which are trying to copy what that character was. It became an icon.
Do you think you've done something that's a little iconic? No, I'm being modest here. Like,
I don't know, you can tell me.
I think your performance in The Heart is definitely something for the ages. Because
Thank you
I
so
think
much.
it kind of realigned and redefined what I would think, how I would think somebody would play a serial killer.
Thank you so much.
Because usually there are two types of serial killers that I've seen. One is the Rakshas Jaisa, the person who's all evil and all that kind of stuff. Or the other person is, they're very still, they're very, like it's almost, there's a creepiness about them, you know, like, but they look normal, but you sense that
Something is off.
There's something is off.
Something is off
But
about
with this guy, we know right from the beginning that this guy is there, but there's nothing that the audience knows, but you played it in such a way that the people around you, there is no way they can guess.
can
And I
guess.
thought that was really special.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Thank you so much.
Yeah.
It was important to serve, to play this way. Otherwise, these really sharp actors who are playing incredible characters would be able to whiff it off
Right.
from a mile apart. They're all.
What is the way to succeed in a creative field?
Think consistently doing
Good work?
good work for a long period of time.
Right.
Do you play video games?
I used to, not no longer.
So you know you like a certain video game, right? This character or this comic book for that matter. You like it and you love it, and then you wait for the next one, and then they do very well, and then you love it more. And then when years pass by, there you have a relationship with this.
Right.
So that's when you achieve a certain kind of bond that cannot be floundered with hits and misses. Then that bond stays.
Right.
It grows in time.
This is a question I asked that Tamil actor Pasupati. You have one face, a certain amount of looks, certain amount of gestures, expressions.
Who did you ask this question?
The Tamil actor Pasupati.
Okay.
He's a very good actor. And I said, you have this face and you cannot change your face and you have a certain way of smiling. Maybe you can have a bigger smile or a smaller smile. But you have a way of, maybe you can crinkle your eyes, you can do little bits. But once you've covered all those tricks and like of thing, how do you, like what is the next step of, like once you've used your face to the maximum extent possible, how do you make me forget that, not that I want to completely forget that this is Vijay Varma playing, but how do you take me to the next level?
What did he say?
He explained it through theatre. So
if you still want to find change, that could be dependent on the role that you pick and the kind of prep that it requires. But what audience usually wants is, are you able to show the truth of the moment? And that's where your heart is attached to the character. That trick will always work. You cannot fail with that trick. The human connection, the emotional connection, or intellectual connection, any kind of connection that trick will always work. But in order to surprise, you have to sometimes take a break, reflect, find something else. I remember there was a phase when Mr. Paresh Rawal took a break and he went back to theatre and he came back and he found a newfound way of expressing himself.
Nice.
So yeah, I think to each his own.
Yeah. You said that you're not a fan of having a godfather in the industry because you want to find your own way. But wouldn't life had become a little easier if you'd had like an Aditya Chopra or a Karan Johar or somebody like that to guide you and say, Acha, like, or introduce you or do things like that, what is it that made you say, no, I don't want a godfather? Or rather, I'm not telling, these names are just my
Yeah,
choices,
yeah.
right? But I'm just saying, what is it that made you feel that having a godfather is not necessarily a good thing?
I mean, if it is supposed to happen, it should happen in your early 20s.
Right.
Early 20s. I think uske baad mein, then you are an adult and you have brain. So, and you can apply it to yourself.
You're making me laugh about this.
Then why do you need anybody to help you? And these are terms, these are things that you need when you need guidance.
Right.
At an age when you need guidance. When at that age I was jobless and struggling, and clearly nobody was interested. And so then it's that meme, have you seen? If you don't like me at my this, then you can't have me at my this.
If you don't like me at my worst, then you don't deserve me at my best.
So,
Something like that.
So yeah, I think I took that call. I'm like, उस टाइम पे मुझे ज़रूरत थी, तब कोई नहीं था. अब मुझे तुम्हारी ज़रूरत नहीं है तो तुम.
Then good, I have found my own way.
Yeah, I have found mine. I found a way
Yeah.
to do this without big names and big banners. And
As an outsider, what is your advice to people coming into find a footing in acting and enter the industry?
my advice would be termed very dated now because the world has moved a lot. It was only theatre training for actors or some cinema training for actors where I came from. And there was only films and television or theatre, the three avenues for any performers. But right now there are avenues which are vast. People can become sensation by just posting something on their page. I feel like I don't understand it anymore. But my advice would be to spend at least 2 years learning acting.
Learning.
Yeah, 2 years minimum.
You mean doing theatre?
Yeah, like you have to consider it as a school for 2 years where you do nothing else.
Yeah, but
study.
learning meaning through theatre or by enrolling in an acting workshop or anything?
Whatever works for you.
Okay.
But it has to be a dedicated time. You can't be doing anything else.
Right.
Because it requires your free time, your empty brain as well, apart from the active time you spent on stage or in workshops, in classes.
Right. You need to be able to explore, I guess.
Yeah. You need time to process what has happened
Right.
a week ago.
Yeah. And finally, just to get an idea of what you think are iconic performances, what are some of your favorite actors and the roles that they've been in?
My God, this is
Just off
going
the
to be a
top of
big
your
list,
head,
huh?
whatever.
Okay, so I like Jim Carrey and a lot of his work.
Right.
I found Cable Guy as one of my first. I couldn't understand that man, and therefore it got my attention. It's such an incredible portrayal of an extremely lonely but outwardly outgoing man. I enjoyed Ace Ventura a lot, and then there was early influences was Bruce Lee. I found him to be absolutely mesmerizing, a personality and a great martial artist. I had a strong response to all the good work with Mr. Pacino, De Niro, and Brando, particularly Serpico and De Niro in Godfather and De Niro in Taxi Driver and Cape Fear, because that showed the range of the man.
Right.
I enjoyed Javier Bardem a lot. I enjoyed Benicio del Toro a lot. And Benicio del Toro, especially when he comes and does his thing and just goes away. One of my favorite performers.
Right. Did you see Che?
I saw Che. I'm a big Soderbergh fan, so I see everything, including The Nick. Have you seen The Nick?
Yeah.
Mind-blowing stuff. I will watch anything with Meryl Streep, but my favorite is Sophie's Choice. I'll watch anything with Blue Jasmine, Kate Blanchett.
Kate Blanchett.
Kate Blanchett in Blue Jasmine is one of my all-time favorite performances.
Right.
All-time favorite performance, hands down.
Right.
That performance killed me, and it was such an interesting thing. Woody Allen is known for making comedies and stuff, and he's been making comedies. I mean, they're satire and they have a little sharp edge to it. Until Kate Blanchett came and said, "Nah, this is not a comedy. I'm going to show you what a broken mind is."
Right. Actually, he did make a lot of serious movies, but then there was a phase, and then there were people who said, "We miss your earlier comedies."
Yeah.
So he went back to that a bit. And
Yeah.
Yeah, so that's a very interesting list, and you know, you didn't say the usual. I mean, you did mention Brando, Pacino, and so on.
Yeah.
I'm a huge Brando fan, so just for me, tell me your favorite Brando performance.
Oh God.
Viva Zapata, Godfather.
Godfather, hands down, is Godfather. There and Makbul here are the best films on crime families, gangster films, all time. I have enjoyed Brando in because he does something original in everything. You know, there's a film called Last Tango in Paris. I didn't have the brains to understand the film. I saw it when I was 23. I should revisit that film, but I just couldn't fathom how he approaches scenes and how he approaches characters and what he chooses to do in each take. Yeah, he's magical.
Yeah, he's magical, and that's a magical movie. I mean, I know that it's a problematic movie in some ways because you're talking about it, but if you just look at it as a film, it's just something else. So what Brando does in that movie emotionally is so, you know, and I think I fully understood that movie only after I read Pauline Kael's review of that movie, because it was so many pages, and I was like,
Wow.
she really took me into that psyche of that man. And I don't know, I must have been like, I was watching all these movies without, like you said, without really understanding. But something's fascinating you, right? Because you're like, wow, okay.
So for that reason, I feel like cinema should be free. Cinema isn't. You should have the freedom to make the stories you want.
Right. And I hope you get that freedom.
Yeah.
It's been lovely chatting with you, seriously. This has been a very unexpectedly rewarding interview because, you know, I was late because of the rain and I thought you were in a hurry, you were going to a shoot, and to actually get this time together has been a pleasure. Thank you so much.
It's been on my list. I wanted to sit down with you. I keep watching and reading what you write and what you say, and your word, you know, your rigor that you put into understanding cinema and talking about it and bringing it out in a way that is very palatable and insightful. I wanted to have an experience with you.
I'm really touched. Thank you so much.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Holidays nale, adu namma GT Holidays da. South India's #1 travel brand.
Join the team. Which values you and your thoughts? Hiring now.
ஒரு மேடை 2 விருது கலாட்டா நக்ஷத்ரா அவார்ட்ஸ் அண்ட் வண்டர் உமன் அவார்ட்ஸ் வர நவம்பர் 30th பயங்கர கிராண்டா நேரு இண்டோர் ஸ்டேடியம்ல நடக்க போகுது. இதை நீங்க நேர்ல பார்க்கணும்னு நினைச்சீங்கன்னா டிஸ்கிரிப்ஷன்ல இருக்கிற லிங்க் கிளிக் பண்ணி உங்களோட ஃப்ரீ டிக்கெட்ஸை வாங்கிக்கோங்க. or www.galatta.com அப்படின்ற வெப்சைட் மூலமா உங்களோட ஃப்ரீ டிக்கெட்ஸை கலெக்ட் பண்ணிக்கோங்க.